we got to break down, review, talk about Easter eggs and references from She-Hulk Episode 3. I am in a completely different location than I am normally, but we're still going to do it nonetheless. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you save this video for later because I'm going to talk about heavy spoilers. So let's jump right into it. So I have mixed feelings about this episode because I loved the Wong stuff and everything that had to do with Abomination. The Dennis stuff felt very unnecessary, but it also felt in tone with the show. So I didn't mind it as much, but it kind of felt off. And the post-credit scene was a meme. With Megan Thee Stallion, I really could not care less about her. I had no idea who she was until the song started playing and they started twerking. So honestly, I don't really care. I know people actually really like her, but for me, I didn't care, and that was just my opinion on it. And I thought that it might have been too memeable, but it was also okay. I also really love how the show is self-aware and how they literally poke fun at the misogynistic men that are coming after the show. And they had this already built into the episode before the show even came out. So they already knew what was going to happen. But I did like the fact that Wong showed up because Wong is one of my favorite characters. He is a real G. But let's break down some of the stuff that we saw. We're going to start with the Abomination Wong stuff, and then we'll go deeper into it. So I like how when they're trying to find Wong, because he is the Sorcerer Supreme, they're looking him up, and he was a Target associate. He was a librarian in Nepal, which is when he was at Kamartaj. And then he's Sorcerer Supreme. So I like how they're trying to figure out who he is, and I love when he just shows up. He just opens a portal into the office and just appears. Because that's what Wong does. No knocking, nothing, just appears in the room. I thought it was pretty funny, and I felt Wong was a little more dumber in this than normal, but also I feel like it worked because it looked like he was kind of tired, so maybe he was overstressed from being Sorcerer Supreme and dealing with Doctor Strange's nonsense, because we also got references in this to erasing people's memories, so Spider-Man No Way Home, and we got reference to the mirror dimension and the shadow dimension, which honestly, I'm thinking the shadow dimension is Dormammu's domain, and that is where Doctor Strange went at the end of Doctor Strange 2. And then I love how Abomination went with Wong originally because Wong needed someone to help him train to be Sorcerer Supreme. And I thought that was pretty interesting because we never really got to see him train to become Sorcerer Supreme. He just kind of took the role on because Doctor Strange wasn't there. So it gave us a little bit of insight to it, even though it was later and after Doctor Strange had returned. But I really liked his character, and I really liked the fact that Emil Blonsky wanted to go back to the prison cell so that he could, be a good citizen. I still think that there's some fishy stuff going on, and that might have to do with Val, where he's going to the Thunderbolts, so he needs to be let go and out of the prison so that he can journey off to be a government contract worker later. Because on top of it all, after he gets released, they're like, well, you can't turn into Abomination anymore. But I'm sure the government will find some workaround to change that. Because I like how he also changes into Abomination to show that he's in control and he can control himself, which I thought was interesting. I know people were complaining about that meme where they're like, whoa, chill, relax. But now it also makes sense in the context of the show. I still really like the form too. I think the Abomination looks really cool. It's different from what he did before, but I like this form more because it's more comic accurate. It's a little goofy, but at the same time, it makes sense. But we also had a bunch of other stuff. Let's talk about Dennis and his Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit case, because that was something. Again, I really did not care about that character, but I did like Dennis's storyline because it was funny, because it was pretty much just taking hits at him the whole time, and so full of himself that he won't let a woman do his case. So he pushes one away because that could be his future wife, and then he tells Jen no because, well, it's Jen, and they worked together prior, so he picks the other lawyer, and I can't remember his name right now, and I just love how, in the end, he called him an idiot. The lawyer made Dennis look like an idiot, but hey, won him the case, and the whole case was against a light elf, a shape-shifting light elf from New Asgard, which I don't think we've seen an elf for a long time now, so it was interesting to see something Asgardian. And we get a lot of Asgard references too, because she even said that she has diplomatic immunity in Asgard because of the fact that she is royalty. However, because they're not in Asgard, it doesn't count. And she turns around and she's like, well, Asgard's always with us. You know, the big Thor speech where Thor is saying that Asgard isn't a place, it's the people. And the judge is like, well, Thor's quotes don't count in court. And she's like, oh. So I thought that was funny. And she did so many things, like she impersonated a judge, which got her thrown in jail in the end. So Light Elf storyline was interesting. It was just kind of funny meme. But let's talk about some of the Easter eggs and stuff that happened throughout the episode, because there were references other than Thor. When Jen was leaving the prison, a reporter goes up to her and said, like, is it true that you got your powers from a botched mafia hit? And it's like, wait a second, that's her comic origin. She gets her powers from getting shot from a mafia hit. So I like how they're putting in her actual origins kind of plopped in episodes mentioned, and it's interesting because, they're still paying homage to what it is, but with rumors instead. There is yet another QR code on the MCU's version of YouTube, and this will bring you to the Savage She-Hulk issue 2. We also got a reference to the Avengers during this episode where Jen's trying to get past all the reporters after leaving the prison, and they're like, was it true that you got rejected by the Avengers? Which I just find is funny because I guess the Avengers are still around, but we don't know what the lineup is right now because the main core ones are gone. But I just found that kind of funny because, maybe they think that because she's a lawyer and she's not on a superhero team. But after this episode, I think things are going to change. Because at the end, when she's heading home, she gets attacked by a bunch of random dudes. And they're using weapons that look strangely alien. And Jen makes a joke asking, hey, are those... She makes a joke, did you rob an Asgardian construction worker? And they're like, yeah, we did. Turns out these guys are the Wrecking Crew, not the same Wrecking Crew from the comics. And in the comics, the Wrecking Crew gains powers from an enchanted crowbar. They were trying to get her blood for their boss. Well, who could their boss be? My first thought was Thunderbolt Ross. However, because the main actor has now passed away, IRL, it could be completely different. And on top of it, it could be Val. Val could be trying to get her blood to make more super soldiers, or she could be trying to make a Red Hulk instead of Thunderbolt Ross instead. So I'm interested in seeing where the story goes because now it's setting up a story that's kind of going further into the show. And something that's going to be, people going after her for her blood or something a little similar. So I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. The episodes are still a little too short for me. I wish it was 30 minutes for the episode and then the credits was separate. Because I think that would make a lot more rather than having a 20-minute episode and 10 minutes of credits. I hate the 10 minutes of credits so much. I still really enjoy the show and I'm loving it so far and I can't wait for more, and I love all the little Easter eggs we get for Marvel. This one had a little bit less than the last two, but that's okay. We're not looking for Easter eggs and references every episode. We're looking for a good show. And that's what this is so far. It's funny, it's charming, and it's a meme. And I like it. It's self-aware, and I love the fourth wall breaks and everything else. I love the fourth wall break where she turns around and says it's my show. Who cares about the cameos? Which I thought was funny. And we saw a clip of that and I still really enjoy it. And then that post-credit scene where she twerks. I still don't know how I feel about it. It's a meme, like I said earlier, but it's kind of weird. And I realized after it's Megan Thee Stallion, not Megan Thee Stallion, but honestly, I couldn't care less. What do you think of this episode? Let me know down in the comments. Are there any Easter eggs or details I might have missed? And if you like content just like this, hit the subscribe button for more because we will be doing this weekly. And I also got Stargirl on the way for DC. So make sure you stay tuned for that.